April 1912. A ship called Unsinkable leaves the port with hope, pride, and dreams. The richest men in the world walk its decks. Immigrants carry their entire future inside small bags. Music plays, laughter fills the halls. But in the dark, freezing waters of the Atlantic, an invisible danger waits. In only a few hours, history will change forever. More than 1,500 lives will vanish into the cold night. This is the emotional story of the rise of Pride and the tragic fall of the legendary ship, the RMS Titanic. At the beginning of the 20th century, the world was obsessed with progress. Bigger cities, faster trains, and larger ships. Shipping companies competed to build the most powerful ocean liners on Earth. One company stood above the rest, the famous White Star Line. They wanted to build the most luxurious ship ever created. So in 1909, construction began in the city of Belfast. Thousands of workers labored day and night at the massive shipyard owned by Harland and Wolff. The ship they built was enormous. It measured over 880 feet long. It weighed more than 46,000 tons. Inside were grand staircases, elegant dining halls, swimming pools, libraries, and luxury cabins. For the wealthy passengers, it was like a floating palace. People believed this ship was almost impossible to sink. On April 10, 1912, the great journey finally began. The Titanic departed from Southampton, heading for New York City. More than 2,200 passengers and crew were on board. Among them were some of the richest people alive. Business tycoon John Jacob Astor IV, millionaire Benjamin Guggenheim, and famous socialite Margaret Brown. But most passengers were ordinary people. Families from Europe hoping for a new life in America. Young couples chasing dreams, workers escaping poverty. The Titanic stopped briefly in Cherbourg and later in Queenstown. Then it sailed into the vast cold Atlantic Ocean. Life on board felt magical. First-class passengers enjoyed fine dining, crystal chandeliers, and orchestras. Second-class travelers experienced comfort better than most ships at the time. Third-class passengers, those simpler, still had hope, excitement, and dreams. Children played on the deck. Music echoed through the halls. Couples danced under electric lights. The ship seemed unstoppable. But far ahead in the freezing ocean, huge icebergs floated silently in the darkness. Several ships had already sent warning messages about ice. Yet the Titanic continued sailing at high speed. The captain, Edward Smith, believed the powerful ship could handle the danger. Before we continue this heartbreaking story, take a moment to support the channel. If you enjoy powerful history, documentaries like this, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story from history. Now let us return to the night that shocked the world. It was late on April 14, 1912. The ocean was calm and the night sky was clear. In the crow's nest, a lookout scanned the darkness. Suddenly a shadow appeared. An iceberg. The warning bell rang 3 times. The bridge received the call, iceberg right ahead. The officers ordered the ship to turn, but it was too late. At 11:40 p.m., the Titanic scraped against the iceberg. The impact felt small, too many passengers, some barely noticed. But beneath the surface, disaster had begun. The iceberg ripped open several compartments of the ship. Water rushed inside faster than engineers had ever imagined. The unsinkable ship was slowly dying. As the crew investigated the damage, a terrible truth became clear. The Titanic would sink, and there were not enough lifeboats for everyone. Panic slowly spread. Women and children were placed into lifeboats first. Some people refused to believe the ship could sink. Many lifeboats left half empty. Meanwhile, the ship's band continued playing music to calm the passengers. Cold wind filled the night. Fear replaced the laughter that once echoed through the decks. As the hours passed, the bow of the ship sank deeper into the ocean. Passengers prayed, cried, and held their loved ones. Some jumped into the freezing water. Others waited until the very last moment. At around 2:20 in the morning, the great ship finally broke apart. The lights flickered, then darkness. The Titanic disappeared beneath the Atlantic. More than 1,500 people lost their lives in the icy water. It became one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. But some survived. Lifeboats drifted in the darkness until rescue arrived. The ship RMS Carpathia received the Titanic's distress signals and rushed through dangerous ice fields to help. Hours later, survivors were pulled from the sea. Cold, shocked, and grieving, the world woke up to shocking headlines. The unsinkable ship had sunk. For decades, the Titanic rested silently at the bottom of the ocean, nearly 4,000 meters deep. Then in 1985, the wreck was finally discovered by ocean explorer Robert Ballard. The broken ship became a time capsule frozen in darkness. Shoes, suitcases, dishes, and personal belongings still scattered across the ocean floor. Each item tells the story of dreams lost that night. Today, the Titanic remains one of the most powerful stories in human history. It reminds us of ambition, pride, tragedy, and the fragile nature of life. More than a century later, the world still remembers the ship that promised greatness and delivered one of the most emotional tragedies ever recorded. The legend of the Titanic continues to live on.